Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. I'm here again outside the theater in my town, and just seeing now the Karate Kid Legends, the new Karate Kid movie. Yeah, it was okay. I'm not super crazy about it. It wasn't terrible though. It was, for the most part, pretty entertaining. It wasn't boring. Worked at a decent enough pace. I do feel like the trailers sold me a different movie in some ways, where I felt like the movie was about, more about Jackie Chan's character and Daniel Caruso, and they are hardly in the movie until the very end of the movie. And the whole movie is, of course, about the main character, Li Fong is named the character, who's in New York, and he's a new kid in New York in school, and he's trying to figure his way out, and the whole story, and it kind of somewhat follows the Karate Kid storyline. He gets bullied, there's a karate tournament, and all this, and he gets trained for it and all that. We see that, but most of the movie is just him kind of carrying the movie. He kind of meets a new girl, and they have like a romantic relationship. And there's this whole plot with his girlfriend's dad, played by Joshua Jackson, which was interesting to see him, where he's trying to enter a boxing match to make money because he owns a pizza place, and he owes money to like a loan shark. And so that's a big part of the movie that they don't show at all in the trailer. And to be honest, it was the worst part of the movie. Like, it was a part I didn't care about at all. It's like, what do I care about this other character, Joshua Jackson, entering a boxing match? And there's this whole, a lot of the first part of the movie is just him training to be a boxer. And you're like, why do I care about the side character training to be a boxer? I'm more interested in Li Fang's character and him dealing with the bullies. And also, I was like, where's Daniel Caruso and where's Jackie Chan's character, Han? It was kind of weird. And finally, when they came into the story, eventually, the movie definitely got much better, more interesting. It got funnier. I loved seeing Jackie Chan, man. I'm a big Jackie Chan fan. Loved seeing him in here. Even at 70 years old, man, has such a good screen presence. Definitely elevated the movie. Ralph Macchio was great as well when he came in. Really, the last part of the movie is definitely the best part of the movie. We have the tournament thing, as you normally have, though the tournament was really kind of weak compared to Cobra Kai. When you watch the show Cobra Kai, the tournament is so good in that TV show. Anytime they do a tournament, it's like the best stuff ever. This was very weak as far as tournament wise goes, so that hurt the movie a little bit for me. Obviously, you have a good happy ending. The characters are very likable. I just wish there's either more action in the movie or more comedy, or more drama too. I would say first Karate Kid had a lot of good dramatic moments. That's what made the first Karate Kid so good. And the relationship between the mentor and the mentee, they don't quite have that here, where you have this great relationship with the mentor that drives the story and the drama. It's more about this romantic relationship. So it wasn't as interesting, I think, dramatic wise. I wish, and there's a good dramatic background of the character that, they do have. I don't know. I wish there's just either more drama, more comedy, or more action. Could have elevated the movie more. Overall, okay movie. Not a bad one to worth seeing at theater. But I'll give more of my thoughts when I get back home here on Jason the Old Millennial. Hello, welcome back to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. And talking about the movie Karate Kid Legends, the newest in the Karate Kid franchise, I guess you can say. And thinking about it more as I got home, it's difficult. There are definitely a lot of negatives I have in my head about the way the movie went. But it was overall not horrible, I guess. And it seems like a low bar to cover or to go over. But today's movies, if it's like, it wasn't boring, it wasn't too long, I was pretty entertained for the most part. I'm give it a slight pass on the movie. And there's some things to like about the movie overall. The thing that really gets me, the more I think about it, though, is the fact that when watching the trailer, you're like, and again, maybe I shouldn't base my hype on a movie on the trailer, but it's hard not to. When you see a trailer, you get kind of hyped up for it. You go, oh my gosh, look at there's some cool action scenes, and it's about, this kid from China. He's in America and he's having a hard time. He's being bullied, and now Jackie Chan is gonna get the help from Daniel Caruso to come help this kid for some reason. And there's some kind of connection between Jackie Chan and Mr. Miyagi, and we're gonna have some kind of big tournament, and that's the movie. And then you watch the movie, and that's not the movie at all. It felt like I got cheated. Like, but a part of me that's kind of mad that, like, watching trailers, they sold me a different movie than what I saw in some sense. Because 2/3 of the movie, Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio aren't in it until about. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Jackie Chan is in small scenes at the beginning of the movie. But then a big chunk of the movie he's not in. Till the very end, he becomes a big part of the movie. Ralph Macchio isn't shown at all until like 2/3 into the movie, and then he kind of comes in as a character and is somewhat of a main character in the third act of the movie, whatever. So it was very weird watching this, going, "Where's Jackie Chan? Where's Daniel Caruso?" Like, the trailer made it sound like they were going to be major characters and like kind of the main. The kid, I think his name is Ben Wong, who plays Li Fong in the movie. He's the main character, sure. That's fine. But I expected a big supporting cast out of those two characters, Jackie Chan playing Han and Ralph Macchio playing Daniel Caruso. You watch the movie, and there's a lot of just this kid, Li Fong, coming to New York. He, is not used to, he's in a different culture, but he speaks great English. Like, he doesn't have a Chinese accent at all. Like, the best English I've ever heard out of anybody that's not from America. It's crazy. Because he grew up in Hong Kong and went to an American school or whatever. How they explain that. But he comes to New York, he's learning, he's a different school, whatever. He doesn't have any friends. And he makes a friend with this girl, Mia, whose dad, she works at her dad's pizza restaurant. And is her dad played by Joshua Jackson, which I didn't even know. This is what gets me. I don't think I saw Joshua Jackson once in the trailer. I had no idea he was in this movie. And all of a sudden he shows up, and I'm like, who is that? That looks familiar. And I think, oh, that's Joshua Jackson. I remember him when he was younger, and I'm like, oh yeah, now he's a little bit older, but still him. So I'm like, okay, he's gonna be a minor character as Mia's mom. Cool, that's a cool role for Joshua Jackson. I like Joshua Jackson. He's always been a very likable actor, and he's good in this movie. Actually, he does a good job. Anyway, so the plot really revolves around him meeting them and getting to know them, and also, obviously there's going to be a romantic relationship because it's a girl and he's a guy, and of course she has a jealous boyfriend a jealous ex-boyfriend who happens to be the greatest martial arts in New York, the greatest karate master, and he's also the biggest jerk, at the school. So it kind of goes along with the original Karate Kid plot, same thing. He likes this girl. Her ex-boyfriend is Johnny, and he's a bully and a jerk, and he has to fight him in the end. So it has the same plot kind of as the original Karate Kid in that point. It lacks the emotional moments that the original has, and it lacks great scenes that the original had, of course. So I'm not going to say it's anything like the original. It had some ideas similar, but obviously you can't compare it to the original. The original is just one of the greatest. You're not going to beat that for the storytelling, the dramatic moments, and even some of the comedy moments, and just story-wise, just so good. Anyway, so it takes some of those ideas, but just doesn't do them as well as the original Karate Kid, I would say. But yeah, the most of this, like the first 2/3 of the movie, it's all about. It turns out it's all about. Well, it's mostly about him and Mia. I mean, there's just so many scenes with him and Mia. It's good in the sense that they do a good job, creating chemistry between these two characters, and you kind of believe them falling in love falling in love, them like each other, and becoming a romantic relationship. So they do a good job there, where I kind of get, these two worked well together, and I like the two actors playing Li Fong and Mia. Overall, they work really well together. All that. They do spend a lot of time, though, on these two characters, getting to know each other and having like this relationship, and him kind of, getting to know New York. Yeah, they spend a lot of time on it. More time than I was expecting, I guess I should say. As I'm watching the movie, I'm like, wow, when are we going to have something happen? When is there going to be a plot in this movie? It's just him getting to know this girl in New York, and all this. Anyways, and anyway, so the first plot actually is revolves around Mia's dad, played by Joshua Jackson. Joshua Jackson ends up playing a huge role in this movie. And like I said, I didn't even know he was in this movie. Don't remember seeing him at all in the trailers. That wasn't advertised. I didn't see any interviews with him. But he is a major character. I would thought, oh, cool minor role. No, it was a major role in the movie. And it all revolves around him, his pizza place. He borrowed money from this like loan shark guy. And so they're going to try to, beat him up or, because he can't pay, he doesn't have the money to pay them. So he's in trouble with this, loan shark person. And so his idea of getting money is that when he was younger, he used to be a really good boxer and was a boxing champion. And so he is going to join some kind of, I guess, boxing fight, and make money. If he can win, he can make money to pay these loan sharks so they don't take the restaurant. That's his grand plan. And his whole idea is that he's going to when he finds out Li Fong is like really good at fighting, he asked him to train him basically, which I didn't see coming at all. I remember going, what is going on in this movie? Like, I thought this was all supposed to be about his character, getting ready for a tournament. But instead, we spend a lot of time him training this older guy. I say older guy, like in his, his 50s or whatever, to box, even though he doesn't know anything about boxing. He's a kung fu fighter, but he's going to teach, his girlfriend's dad, basically, or not the girlfriend at the time, but potential girlfriend's dad, how to box, even though the whole story around him is that his mother told him, I'm not getting the whole backstory, but there's a whole backstory of like why dealing with his brother and why he can't fight and his mom doesn't want him to fight. And so he's doing it secretly without his mom's knowledge. And also Mia's not really excited about her dad going back into boxing and all that. Anyway, so yeah, this is a huge plot point in the movie, which this is basically the movie where I'm like, okay, I know this is just a minor part of the movie that we're going to get to the major part, and we're going to get to Daniel Caruso and Jackie Chan at some point, but I didn't know it was going to take this long to the movie till we get to that point. Anyway, so we have this whole point and this whole plot and blah, 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 and that goes whatever. And it kind of ties into then Jackie Chan, who's his like great uncle, comes to visit him because he can sense that something's wrong. And so he makes a decision that, so they decide that, Jackie Chan basically makes the decision that there's a tournament called the Five Boroughs Tournament. Anyways, it's like this big tournament, New York tournament, whatever. And that you need to, even though the mom said, by no means can you ever fight, Jackie Chan's like, yeah, you got to enter this tournament and you can win it and you make money winning it. And then you can give the money to your friend and to help keep the business going. So that's kind of comes to the plot in the third act, but it doesn't really come until the third act. It's so strange to come up with this different plot that really has nothing. I mean, it has something to do with the major plot, the third act plot, but I feel like it wasn't needed. I remember the whole time thinking like, boy, this was a whole storyline we could have done without. Like, because no one cares. Like, all we care about as an audience is we care about this kid training to fight in this tournament, and we care about seeing Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio be the people training this kid. That's what we want. And we don't get it till the third act, like till 2/3 into the movie. I mean, it's crazy in that sense. That it feels like we waste all this time on this minor plot of this dad wanting to box to make money. It was just really weird that they went that way. And that, like I said, didn't expect that to happen at all. Wasn't expecting that. Didn't get revealed at all in the trailers that was a plot point. It was really weird to me. And I think a lot of people I've heard I think that's the main criticism, and I agree that's the main criticism I have, is just why do we waste so much time on Joshua Jackson's character and not spend more time with Jackie Chan and Daniel Caruso and training this kid. Anyway, so yeah, I think that's a major problem with the movie. So then when we get to the part where they finally, and it's weird that the mom's like, you can't fight, and the whole movie, there's some dialogue that's really stupid here and there. Some plot points are kind of stupid. The mom's like, oh, you can't fight. Then Jackie Chan says, oh, he has to fight. And then the mom at the end goes, yeah, you can fight. And it's like, what happened to you abandoned this thing that you've been saying the whole movie that you shouldn't fight. And then you let Jackie Chan, your uncle in the movie, like go over your head. You're the mom. You have the ultimate say so, not Jackie Chan, the uncle, the great uncle. Like, how come you're not the one making the decision? How come that didn't make any sense? A lot of that to me. Yeah, and finally, when we get to Daniel Caruso coming in, because the whole thing is it's a karate tournament. The kid knows kung fu, so he needs to learn karate. Like, and I'm guessing he needs to learn the techniques because it's like he can fight. He knows how to fight. He's very good at it. He just needs to know the karate techniques. So that makes sense to me. I was like, okay, that's actually a good story idea. Thing that doesn't make sense to me is like, why didn't they place this movie in California where Daniel Caruso is? How come they put it in New York and then they have to go to Daniel Caruso in California? Jackie Chan does to get him on board, so he has to come back to New York. I'm like, just set the whole movie in California. I don't get why they did it the way they did it. But anyways, so he goes, he recruits Daniel's help because he was friends with Miyagi back in the day, because there's some kind of bond between Miyagi and the Hans way back when, because Miyagi's ancestor was in China and learned kung fu or something like that. And anyways, it's a little strange to me only because I know there's a not good history between Japan and China where, as far as I know, Japan and China don't like each other. And so it's weird that we're going to have a Japanese character, a Chinese character, and they're going to be like good friends or something from long ago. I don't know. That's just me, anyways. Idea I have is like, I don't quite get why we have that. Anyways, whatever. I'm going to go along with it in the movie. And so, yeah, so then we get Daniel Caruso coming to New York to help train him in karate. And that's where the movie really takes off. And it's really good. The scenes where they're training him, great. Love it. Love Daniel Caruso and Jackie Chan. Daniel Caruso, Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan. I love their interaction together. It's the best part of the movie. That's where you get a lot of comedy. There's some good comedic moments. I love because they're both training him. And they both have different ideas how to train him. So like, let's do it this way. No, let's do it this way. And all the while, they're just putting this kid through torture, trying to train him. And he's like, oh my God, I got two masters now that are beating the crap out of me. So there's some funny moments there. And overall chemistry is great. And Jackie Chan's just amazing. Like I said in my intro, love Jackie Chan. He's my favorite martial arts actor. Been following him for a long time. Seen about every movie he's been in. Absolutely love Jackie Chan. So that's, to me, this movie would probably not get a passing grade if it wasn't for how much I love Jackie Chan and how much I love Karate Kid in total. It also helps me because I did love seeing Ralph Macchio here. I thought I did a really good job. But Jackie Chan's great. Like I said, 70 years old, still great. I mean, still love seeing him on the screen. Anyway, so we get all that. Here, another big problem is like, so at it's like finally at the end, we're going to be like, all right, we're going to train for this big tournament, the Five Boroughs tournament. And there's, of course, like I said, the villain is the Mia's ex-boyfriend who's happens to be, he's just a real jerk. And there's not really a lot of bullying in the movie. He bullies him a little bit. Not like the original Karate Kid, but, he's a big jerk who's like the karate champion. He wins the Five Boroughs every year kind of thing. So he's obviously going to be the final opponent. We don't really get a lot of motivation from him, just that he's a jerk. I kind of do wish we could have gotten more into that character and why he's the way he is, maybe. And also his sensei, like the original, you got Johnny Sensei, why he was a jerk, and not why, but maybe you got a little more character out of him. Here you don't get as much of a good character. You just know he's evil for evil's sake, and we got to beat him. So when they get to the tournament part, and they kind of, it's interesting, the tournament, I'm thinking it's like in a gym, that's usually you have tournaments, you have gyms and mats like that. No, they put a mat on top of a roof of a New York building, and it seems so small of a place, and you have like this big crowd surrounding the mat. Like, who are these people? Why are they there? Like, hey honey, there's 5 boroughs on top of this building. You want to go watch these kids beat the crap out of each other? Yeah, let's do that on Friday night. I don't understand who these people are, but they're all surrounded, all karate enthusiasts. Like, yeah, we're gonna watch this 5 boroughs tournament on top of this building, this roof building, whatever, that doesn't have any seating. You're just standing there watching, and you can't see over people probably because they're in their way. So they're like, oh, I can't even see the action. So they're fighting on top. At first, I'm like, it's kind of stupid, but you do get some good shots of New York City, so it's kind of cool. I'm like, okay, I like the shots of all the other buildings in the background. It's kind of a cool scene to have a fight scene, whatever. That makes sense. I think it would be in a gym somewhere. But anyways, So they have that, and they're like, all right, here's the tournament. And I'm like, all right, finally, we're getting to the tournament part. We're going to see some action because we haven't seen really a lot of, action in the movie. And they start the tournament, and I swear, like 2 minutes later, it's like, all right, we're in the finals. Lee Fong and Connor Day, the bad guy, made it to the finals, and we see them. We see a montage of them beating up other opponents, and it seems like they just beat everybody really easily. Like there's no challenge, and now they get to fight each other, and this is like the first time they're gonna be challenged, and everybody else was just cupcakes. Uh, I didn't like that because I'm like, all right, let's get some good montages. Let's get some good fights going. Let's get some really cool characters to fight against our hero. Like they didn't build anybody up, so you didn't know anybody. You just people showed up, and all of a sudden you got to fight with them. He beats them up, and that's the end. It would have been better if they would have built up some more characters, had some more time with other characters in the movie. So then when he had to fight them, there's something on the line where like, oh no, that guy, we saw him, and you don't see anybody else fighting. All you see is Lee Fong and Connor Day fighting. It'd be nice to build up some other characters of being badasses too, and being like, oh man, he has to fight that guy. That guy just beat up the other guy. Really in a really good match. Do something where I'm more interested in these fights, where I'm not interested at all in the fights. I'm like, I don't know who these people are. They're getting defeated fairly easily by our characters, the bad guy and our main good guy. I don't know. And it only took about 2 minutes, and all of a sudden, we're in the finals. I'm like, we're in the finals? Oh, that was a quick tournament. Like, I don't know. Even the first Karate Kid did it so perfectly in that it's like, all right, we're at the tournament. Let's start some fighting. And then you have one of the greatest songs ever, playing the great 80s tune. You're the best around. No one's going to keep you down. Oh, it's amazing. That song, watching kids fighting, this montage of different kids. And when he gets, not in the finals, he gets to fight other Cobra Kai characters. You're like, oh, yeah, that Cobra Kai is pretty good. And you have some decent fights with them. I don't know. There was no build up. It was just, all right, here's finals. Let's just watch the finals between these two characters. That's what we want to see, right? Whatever. So they don't build it up very good. The last fight is okay. There's some wire work. As I'm watching, I'm like, okay, there's no way someone can do that. It defies the laws of physics. So obviously they're using some wire work in there, which sucks because it doesn't feel as real. But, overall, fight scene is pretty good, pretty well choreographed. In fact, the best fight scene in the whole movie is there's a fight scene in an alley where the kid, Lee Fong's character, fights three thugs who are going to beat up the Joshua Jackson character. And he has a fight with them in the alleyway. Really good fight scene. Best fight scene in the movie. Really well choreographed. So I'm like, whoever's doing this is good at choreographing fights. We just need more of them. There's hardly any fights. There's just a couple fights at the beginning, and at the end we get a couple fights, montages, and the final fight. So it felt like it lacked really action. That I was hoping there was more fighting. I was hoping for more action sequences. I feel like we barely got that in the movie. And like I said, we barely got Jackie. It felt like Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio as Danny Caruso. I feel like we didn't get very much of them as I was hoping. Very little of them. That we needed more of them. I think we needed more action in the movie. I think we could have done away with the Joshua Jackson plot line, the dad boxing, and spend more time just getting ready for this tournament and building up other characters. I don't know. That would have been more interesting to me for the movie. Anyways, yeah. So I think that's most of what I say. I know I'm pretty negative on it. I am giving this a 3 out of 5 stars. I'm giving actually a light recommend. And mostly because it was actually fairly entertaining. I wasn't bored. It wasn't very long. So it kept me like not, looking at my watch or anything. Like watching Mission Impossible, it was just so long and boring. We get a lot of those lately. And so I credit the movie that I was like, they didn't take too much of my time out and they didn't bore me. I appreciate that. And I do like the main characters. I think the main characters are really well done. I like the actors that are playing them. They're very likable characters. And I do think the scenes with Daniel and Jackie Chan, Mr. Han's character, are really fun and really great. I just love seeing Jackie Chan on the big screen again. And overall, it's a normal story. Good guy wins. I mean, I'm spoiling the movie, sorry, but good guy wins. Everybody's happy. It leaves you. You get to go home happy about the story. You go, that's good. The good guys won. And I like the good guys. They were nice people. So it gives you what you want as a moviegoer, I guess. It just, You know, I wish, again, I said in my, I think, my intro that either I need more action in the movie, or I need more comedy, or I need more drama. Even though there was comedy, there was drama, there was action, I just need more something to make this movie stand out and go, yeah, we really needed a Karate Kid Legends, you know? Right now, yeah, I mean, I would say I don't know that we needed this movie. I kind of want to see a Cobra Kai movie now, because we do get a really cool cameo at the very end of the movie where I'm like, yeah, let's get some more Cobra Kai. I miss Cobra Kai. It was such a good show. So I do want to see more of those characters. But anyways, that's my overall thoughts on this movie. Please feel free to comment. What do you think? Did you like this movie? Have you seen it? All that. Love to read your comments. And thank you for everybody who's watching this video. Thank you for liking it. And thank you to all my subscribers for supporting me. I appreciate you all and hope you have a good day.